So without further ado, I'm super excited about our next presenters. Jeff and Courtney, are y'all in the room? Please welcome Jeff and Courtney. You have mics? Okay.
Look at you two.
All right, so go ahead and get started.
Hi, everybody. We're Jeff and Courtney Gorley. We are parents to 3 boys. They're 8, 10, and 12 years old. We joined Lifestyles in 2015. My husband came to this with his friend Juan. He said, "Come join this Lifestyles thing." My husband came to the case study, I believe, and he called me. He said, "Okay, we're going to join this program. It's $500 at the time. Maybe it's still the same." But and I said, "Absolutely not. That is a scam. We're not doing that at all." And he came home that night. He said, "Okay, so I joined Lifestyles today." And I was like, "What did you do?" So that was in 2015. And as soon as I went to the 2-day class, I was on board with this program. And you know, just all the mentors that help you with every aspect of the entire process. So we started out actually in single family. We bought up to 14 single family homes. We've sold quite a few of those off by now. We bought a 12 unit as a lead, and then we just recently bought a 60 unit as leads as well. The one we're presenting today is our 12 unit, and we have sold that one.
Okay, so why did you join Lifestyles?
We sold that to get our time back. We wanted to be able to spend more time with our family, with our boys. They're still really young, and so we wanted to be able to cherish those younger times while we're still cool, you know, to them. I know eventually they'll get to the point where we're not. So we also wanted to be in control of our financial future, and so work until you drop is not very appealing. We like to be able to be in control of our own time. Lifestyles has a great roadmap to follow. Like I said, they have great mentors, they have education, networking. The networking part is really key. To be able to talk to other members that do the same exact thing as you is very valuable, and we've made a lot of great friends throughout the years.
So tell us about our deal. Now, I remember this. I'm so thrilled that when I was asked to help with the case study that y'all were presenting, because I actually helped you analyze the deal. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. I actually know a little bit more about the deal. So go ahead and share with us more details about the opportunity. I can't see anything without, I mean, my eyes are going, I'm going to have to stand over here.
I'll tell you a little bit. When we first went to this property to view it the very first times, Curtis came to this property, and so did Randa. And Randa told me later, I was a little scared for you, but I want to tell you at that time, because we have completely transferred it by now, but you'll see some before and after pictures. Go ahead.
Yeah, a little about the before and after. So we pulled police records on this property before we actually closed, and the police had been there more than once a day for the previous year. To say it was rough, it was, you know, it was probably a good D minus.
Wait, guys, we call that an amenity?
Yeah, it certainly had some amenities, lots of extra resident roaches and rodents and things like that. What else? So we purchased in November of 2020, which was kind of right in the middle of COVID. $650,000, $54K a door. Cash out of pocket was $325,000. We got bank financing for $570,000. It included a year of IO and a good percentage of the rehab budget.
Really quick, though, I got to slow you down a second. Did you do this as a lead deal or as an IRO deal?
We did it as a lead deal.
We asked the questions here. Come on,
I'm sorry, Curtis. Go ahead.
Okay.
So we did do this as a...
So was all this your money? You put $325,000 down out of your own money?
No, we put 50 of our money into it.
Okay, so how'd you get the rest?
So the rest of it we raised through other Lifestyles members in a small syndication.
So literally, so this is an aspiring lead. This is their first multifamily deal as an aspiring, that's what we call an aspiring lead. Once they close, they officially become a lead. And so tell me, how difficult was that process in raising the equity? Were you nervous about it?
Nervous somewhat. It really helps knowing other people that have done it and the networking that Courtney mentioned. Actually raising the funds was fairly easy through the Lifestyles model. You meet so many people that want to invest, and so many people here have invested in other deals and like aspiring leads. So I think we raised the money in like 4 hours when we opened it up.
We did. We were like, we actually turned it on and then went to the pool. And while we were at the pool, we were like, oh my gosh, we're oversubscribed. What do we do? How do we turn this off? We were at the pool. So we had to shut it down. And unfortunately, we had to tell people, I'm sorry, we're oversubscribed. So yeah, it was surprisingly, we were very nervous at first that we weren't going to be able to raise the money, but we were surprised that we were able to. And we have 8 other investors on this deal.
And what was the smallest amount that was invested?
$25,000.
$25,000. Okay. Okay.
8.
Eight investors, 8 families invested.
9 total, including us. So 8 other.
Okay, so these numbers are from when we sold it here recently, this last month. The monthly income was $10,220, expenses roughly $3,500, debt service was $3,215. That was because we were out of the IO period. So a little over $3,500 monthly cash flow. NOI is $6,700 a month roughly. So the cash on cash return when we sold was roughly 13%.
And we'll cover some more of these numbers in 2 more slides. So
Yeah.
a lot of information right here, but we'll sum it up in about 2 more slides.
Distributed during the 19 months we owned it was roughly $30K, and we recently sold it and distributed a little over 65 actually, and that's after lead comp. So.
And we'll cover that again. So there's a lot of information in terms of details, but there's one more slide that'll sum that up nicely. I wish they had more before photos.
There's an interior one the next, but yes,
Yeah, so
that is
if you
scary,
could
right?
really
I mean, look
see
at that
this.
before.
you do have to appreciate the big pile of trash down at the end too. There was about a 30-yard container of just trash sitting around the property.
Another funny story on this is when we went to view it, there were hardly any cars in the parking lot during the day, and we thought, oh great, everyone's at work. You know, there's no cars in the parking lot. Well, we found out nobody worked or had a car, so that was fun.
So one of the great things about that's so funny. One of the great things about Lifestyles is we get to go on these road trips on a regular basis. Once, twice a month, we have these road trips. We have these education road trips. We have these acquisition road trips. On the education road trips, we actually go to a member's property. Sometimes it's right when they buy it, before the rehab. Sometimes it's during the rehab, and sometimes it's the final product. We get to see what they've done. And a lot of times we try to get in before they make this look that, so that we can see the befores and after details. And sometimes they're pretty scary. And I really think that your single family experience and taking what you saw the single family presentation earlier, which was a scary home, into a beautiful home, I gotta imagine that helped you, because be honest with you, this place scared the crap out of me. And I've seen a lot, like what you don't see here is there was an actual hole in the floor.
Yes. Yeah, there were quite a few of those.
If you were, like when we do unit inspections, we're looking for stuff, I'm like, man, I could have stepped right in that hole and hurt myself. So this was one of the, as David would say, smelled like a lot of opportunity, right? This one smelled like a lot of opportunity, and I think if you didn't have that single family experience, and this was your very first multifamily deal you're looking at, I'm pretty sure you would have walked away. And someone else behind you would have stepped up and done this. And we get this a lot, mind you, both on the single family side and the multifamily side, is we don't buy this. This is not what we buy. We buy stuff that's tired. Now this is beyond tired. David's going to teach you all the ways where we make improve NOI, improve value, but it's like this typically scares someone off, and I just want to applaud y'all for really just taking this to the next level, and it shows and it pays off. And so let's go and look at oh geez, there you go, another before and after, right? Like this is look. This is not a vacated unit. I want you to get
Someone
that.
lived in that unit.
I want
yes.
you to get this. This is not a vacated unit.
That board on the floor was the previous repair job, how they had attempted to fix the hole. They just covered it.
That was a skylight.
Yes. Ventilation, right?
All right, let's look at a little bit more numbers and we'll get to the final numbers here in a second.
Okay, so this
Really?
was, year one was the year that we actually took it over. It doesn't really have a year zero kind of like at the very start where you first take it over. So initially when we bought it, the actual income for the year would have been in the 50s. So at the end of year one, our income was $93K. That's the year we did most of the rehab. Operating expenses, 38.
And you still got positive cash flow,
Yeah,
even though
we
you did a
still-
massive rehab, right?
Yeah.
And how many units were you turning? Because typically in apartment complexes, we have about a 50% turnover just normally. So every year, about 50% of your residents are moving in and moving out, right? It's just a normal kind of thing that happens in the apartment world. And so as you don't go in and rehab in the interior units while someone's living there. When they move out, that's when you go in and upgrade it, right? So how many units were you able to get through your first year?
Yeah, we did 10 of the 12 units our first year.
Wow.
And we offered some of the residents that already lived there to move to a new renovated unit at the higher price. And then once they moved over, I renovated their unit and got new people in.
Yeah, that helped us keep our occupancy up while we were trying to renovate all the units and get
And the key is at the new price, which
Yeah.
makes a huge difference, right?
Yep.
Awesome. And so year two is actually when you sold it. You have year three, but really
Yeah.
year two is when you sold it. And so let's look at those. And David's going to talk about this in a lot more detail over the weekend. You can see on the NOI where they gone from 55 to 86 that added value. And what I thought was really, really cool is I went back to the original multifamily quick analysis that we did together. And it just so happens that your year three projected value was $990,000. So they hit it in 19 months. They hit their value in 19 months.
And this year, at the beginning of the year, we started getting some offers to purchase it. So we looked at those and talked to a couple brokers and discussed it with our investors and decided to sell it and move on.
And we sold it to another Lifestyles member.
Yeah, yeah. There's still some opportunity for growth in the area.
And I think I saw the percentage somewhere. Which it was back here, right?
What? Oh, the
0.2% cap rate. So
Yeah.
First of all, let's finish with this one, and I'll talk about the cap rate in a second. So total returns were
130K after 19 months, or 40% on the original investment. So we've already returned all of the capital to the investors, and about 30% of the 40.
So the original investment was, the out-of-pocket was $325,000. They got back the $325,000 plus
130.
the additional $130,000. And so over a 19-month period, the average return was 40%. Isn't that incredible? Pretty good,
Yeah, and this was right during COVID too.
right? I mean, so...
Oh my God, it was during COVID! 40% return!
And so you hit your goal of 990 in your valuation. You went to your investors and say, hey, do you want to capture that money now and move on or not? And everyone voted to say, yeah, let's capture it now, right there. So what was the main reasons why you decided to go ahead and pull the trigger now than try to hold it longer? Because you have options.
Yeah, there's a couple reasons. The tax valuation was going up quite a bit because of the obvious improvements on the property. So that was going to start to hurt our cash-on-cash returns the next few years. The other thing is, as leads, managing a 12-unit is time-consuming. So we didn't want to continue to manage a 12-unit. We wanted to get that capital out. The other thing is we thought we'd probably captured most of the gains that we're going to get. So if we held it longer, the investor's average return over the time frame might actually start to go down because you're really just getting cash flow.
And I was hoping you were going to say, like what you said on bullet number 2, is you've seen on the passive investor presentation that they're living a lifestyle. When you step up into an aspiring lead role, it's a full-time gig. They're working their tails off so that their passive investors can live the lifestyle. The IROs can live the lifestyle and own properties. Single family can live the lifestyle and own properties. I just want to make a clear point that aspiring leads and lead investors can't, because they have a fiduciary responsibility to take care of their investors' funds. And so a big reason why a lot of aspiring leads exit early is they've hit their 3-year projection and it's just too much damn work to try to run there's no economies of scale. And David's going to teach you about all the benefits of economies of scale. And so they're going to go bigger and bigger and bigger. So basically, it goes back to just taking your funds and reinvesting, getting your funds reinvesting. They're just going to continue. They're going to sell, use the funds, and just go a bigger deal. And so will their investors as well. Not putting words in your mouth, but
Yeah. When we bought it, we lived 15 minutes from it, and we moved about an hour away from it now. So managing the 12-unit from an hour away is a pain.
And I think that's why a lot of folks also love aspiring leads, is because of what Madeline and the passive investor Sandy said. Is we know you're going to be really focused, but for me, I know you're going to want to exit sooner than later.
And
I love that part.
We moved an hour away because we were able to buy our dream home. So that is what Lifestyles also afforded us, was we were able to move to our next step in life.
All right, so how did you increase the NOI? Because obviously that NOI part is what gets us to the value of the property. And I did want to make one more point, and David, stop me if I'm getting too deep in the weeds here. They mentioned that they sold this property to another Lifestyles member. Sorry, I just can't see.
I know it.
My,
You do it blind.
I know, I can't see the slides. They sold this property to another Lifestyles member at an 8.3% cap rate. Now, David's going to go into detail on all that calculation, but basically what that tells me is they left a lot of meat on the bone for the next person, which I think is great. So the next round of investors that can come into this deal, because typically in Houston, we're talking about a 6.5 to 7 cap. Like this is I don't know, I can't think of the last time I've seen anything above an 8 cap. When I say 8 cap, just think of a lower price. Like high price means low cap, low price means high cap in general. So when I say I've never seen such a high cap rate before, this to me is a bargain. They made money, their investors made money, and the next round of owners are going to make money. That's the point I want to make. Is that good?
Yeah, and that's why I say for the new folks, just so you know, this cap rate thing, don't worry about it. I'll explain that on Sunday in the seminar. I'll explain it in simple English. Don't worry about that. The point is we're buying something ugly. We make it pretty. You make money. That's the bottom line. And who did all the work? They did. So really quick, I got to ask a question. Are any of your passive investors in the room today?
Yes, they are.
Raise your hands if you were in this deal, just so you know. So those folks there, I have a really quick question. Because there's some new people hearing all this work you're doing and dealing with all the amenities and stuff that you were on the property. How much work did they do?
Did you do any work? They're best friends, so.
The point is, being a passive, they did no work. So you decide where you want to fit in.
Yeah, Juan's one of our investors, and he regularly called me and asked me if I was working for him today or not.
Love it, love it. All right, so how did you increase NOI?
Well, the biggest thing was we removed the purple Martian, so the people that weren't paying or had criminal conviction that weren't on the lease, we removed a few of those. We cleaned up the exteriors. We had a lot of overgrown trees, the painting. We renovated the interiors. We increased the rents. We added a few amenities like washer and dryer. They would provide their own washer and dryer. Well, we bought the washer and dryer at a good rate, and we rented them to the residents, and it wasn't an option. So if the washer and dryer was in the unit, it was a required rented item. We ended up adding trash and pest control charges to their rent as well. And then we ended up creating a community that the residents were proud to call home. We turned something very ugly into a prominent place to live in the area.
So how has lifestyles change your life?
Having the financial freedom to choose to work or not is really life-changing. It helps you mentally.
You're not Italian.
Yeah, so having the freedom to choose whether you work or not is really life-altering, and it changes your mentality, even if you're still working. So.
All right, what's next? Short-term, long-term goals.
Short-term goals, we want to be able to spend more time with our kids. We want to have Jeff move to full-time real estate. He still has a part-time job. I do the real estate full-time. And then we want to, we bought a 60-unit apartment earlier this year, and so we want to accomplish that business plan and then get that one ready to go. And the long-term goals are to be able to travel to more places around the U.S. and expand to 3 to 4 new lead properties and continue to invest passively as well.
Okay. So who's on your team?
Mentors, Curtis, Lee Carroll, who's not on there, he also helped, not on this particular deal, but on our 60 unit a bunch. Courtney regularly calls Randa. On the realty side, Joe Nichols and Diana Mon are both brokers at LU that we worked with. Vendors, Dotson Legal, Trowbridge Law, National Tenant Network does all our screening. SB Tax is our CPA, she's done a fantastic job. And R.A. Copeland, Richard found us the loan on this deal.
All right, I know R.A. Copeland's in the house. Yes. All right, let's give them big hands. Big hand for everybody. Come on. Good job. Questions. Let's do some questions.
You guys got to answer questions.
Okay.
Do we have any questions? I need to steal one of the microphones. Can I, just so I can, because she's going to talk anyways? Okay. All right, Nat.
Thank you. So we've talked a lot about successful deals, both multifamily and single unit. And I want to start this by just sharing my own experience over the last 3 months in the Houston area. And the question is about how do you guys help actually buy the properties? For the last 3 months, I've put 6 offers on single-family homes at the asking price for cash, willing to close in 2 days. And I've got not a single property in my portfolio.
Are you a Lifestyles member?
No.
I guess you should come to my seminar.
Well, that's why I'm here. Because of Corbin and Priscilla. So
Okay.
How can you guys help someone looking to join this? What makes it different than you're on your own trying to do this, you're putting in cash offers at the asking price, and you still can't get a property?
So,
How do you change that?
I'm going to take a quick shot at this because he's talking single family and multifamily. First thing, what you just said, on your own. Did he say that? What did I say? It's a team sport. What did Curtis say from the beginning? I surround myself with smarter people. We have the very best realtors. You heard Jeff over there spouting out some numbers that Sorrell asked. We have the #1 realtor. It's about relationships. You don't have those relationships on your own. When you join Lifestyles, you're part of that team and this network of all these people helping each other. Before we started tonight, Curtis led a meeting of 80 of these people like this. There were all these lead investors in this room before you guys came here, and they opened their books to each other and shared everything. What's your level of success if you're surrounded with a bunch of millionaires showing you how to do it all every step of the way? You see the difference? It's because right now, everybody can do this to go at your loan. Everything we teach, just so you know, is available out there on the internet. Is that what makes you successful? It's having the guidance. What's your level of success if a guy like this walks a property with you? Do you think you'd be more successful than doing it on your own? So that's what I'd encourage you to just learn, to educate yourself. And I explained how to find the deals this weekend and how you can do that. But that's a much longer conversation. Does that help you a little bit? It's about surrounding yourself with other people that are successful and relationships with people who are doing it all the time. I'll give you an example. You said you sat there and made all these offers and haven't got a deal. What if we sent you emails, 10 a day, of deals off market that they're 100%, if you sit there and answer the email and say, I want it, and you're the first in line, you get it. Would that be more easier? The question is, how do you do that? I told you, that's a very involved question. I'd have to spend hours teaching that. That's why I teach 60-hour seminar.
Yeah, it's really comes down.
You got to break
again,
down step by step how to do all that.
It's the education, and it's the relationship. It's a relationship business. It's not a transaction-based business. I talk about that a lot in the mentoring sessions, and it's not. It's who you know, and your step. Here's a good analogy. It's almost like you want to get into the country club, but they're not going to let you in. Join Lifestyles, and you get the key to the door. They'll let you in. And it's easier to do business inside the doors because everyone knows each other than it is to be an outsider looking in trying to do deals. It's that relationship that gets solidified. That's the key. That's the key. My very first deal, no experience, didn't know what I was doing, but there were 4 people involved in that initial transaction that had a ton of experience and an incredible reputation, and just by association, they looked at me like I actually had that experience, which I did not. So again, it's the team that's going to get you there.
Sorrell wants to do a follow-up.
I hate to interrupt the multifamily part, but he was asking about single family. Angela, you made 6 offers and got nothing. Angela, you bought 3 properties. How did those properties come to you?
Through the road trips and the emails.
Through the Lifestyles Realty team. And you didn't have to make any cash offers. These were, all right, so teamwork. It's the whole thing. It's the whole team. It's what everybody's been saying.
Great question. It
is a
really
great
is,
question.
but it comes down to that.
Congratulations on your success in this project. When I saw the pictures, I would have ran away from it. My question is, how did you deal with all the purple Martians in there? What was the process to get them out, or how difficult was it?
Well, I asked them to leave, and sometimes they did. They left on their own. And then one I almost had to evict him, but he ended up leaving on his own. So I'm very sweet looking, right? And I said, please leave. And they said, okay. And they did. So that's true. I didn't actually have to evict anybody. So
But
got
we have
lucky with that. But,
It's a simple rule. Listen to this. Ready? If you pay, you stay. If you don't, you won't. Who likes that? Keep it simple. And we just evict people. It is part of the process if we have to. But it worked out.
Yep.
There's another question over here, Dan.
Where? Somewhere over here? Okay.
So as far as the deals, are there plenty of deals that go to you that you have a chance to participate in? The concern I have is that there's so many members, the deals they disappear before you have a chance to participate or to buy.
Great question, James.
Go ahead, Dave.
You want me to answer that? Okay.
My answer would be too long.
I know. I have to always give the summary of it because I deal with this all the time. I teach a seminar across the exact question you have is every single weekend when I teach, I get that same question. Now, watch this. See this room here? Probably 150 people. Now, some people are brand new. Some people are already. How many people in this room are already in multifamily deals in some way invested? Raise your hands. So you see all those people? Wow, look at all your competition. There's no way if those 50, 60 people in the room are all in deals, I can get a deal, right? But let's say there's 600 different leads, okay? Let's say 50% of them are doing a deal this year. Let's just make it a number of 365. How many days in a year are there? 365 days. And if you put 50K of your money in every single deal, and every one of those deals have anywhere from 20 to 100 people in it, and you got a deal every day to pick on, right? Would you run out of money by January 5th or so? So there's plenty of deals and opportunities. Earlier when I had Dustin and Sandy up here, they're in like 30 some deals. They said I have to keep turning down deals. The problem is when you're new, you're scared you can't get a deal. Once you're a member about a year or so, you will run out of money every single time. Watch this. How many people ran out of money? You see that? That's real people, real results. 100 people can't be lying. You understand that? Does that help you a little bit? So the fear is, can I get a deal? There's plenty of deals, but it doesn't matter if this guy gets a deal or that guy's, it's what's in it for me. Can I get in a deal? That's where Curtis, myself, and everybody teaches you what's the right deal for you and your family to make you successful. You have to have that knowledge before you choose the right deal for you. Not every deal is right for you. That's more what I want you to take the time to figure out the right path for you. Does that help a little bit?
Yes, and just one last.
Sure.
part of that. Is there a high minimum for investment?
Okay, great question. So James said, I'm just going to repeat what he said. James asked, is there a high minimum for investment? Deals, people will put anywhere from 25K into 200K in any deal. Watch this. How many people in the room come up with 25K? What was the lowest investor in your deal?
Both of our multifamily, we had 25,000 investors.
First time leads take a lot of slots at 25K. You get bigger deals, it might be a bigger minimum. But even if they'd say 100K minimum, they always save a couple slots for little people at 25K because they remember when they were new. And I brought that up to Curtis in a meeting earlier today. We always save slots for the new guys. Make sense?
Yeah, we took quite a few in our second deal as well. New members at lower amounts.
Great question, though.
Yeah.
Anything online? I want to make sure we didn't ignore the online people. David?
I think we have one over there, David?
No.
In the back.
Wait, what? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm ignoring you. I got you. Man, you dressed up to come here, Cedric. Look at you all dapper.
Quick question. My wife and I, we're challenge members, but moving towards the multifamily preferred. And Curtis, you may want to chime in on this one. What's your criteria in terms of if you're trying to buy your time back for using a property management company?
What's the criteria of when to use a third-party management company? So there's a certain size that you have to have for third parties. As an IRO, you can do whatever you want. So if you want to buy your time back, buy your own deal, hire a third party to run the property, you're good. As a syndicator, again, that fiduciary responsibility to their investors, they're not going to want to outsource the main day-to-day operations to a third party. They're going to want to do the day-to-day. At some point in time, as they do, the long-term goals was to travel. You're like, wait a second, you said they're full-time, but they want to travel. Well, what happens is with a lot of folks is they slow down or stop being leads and start or continue to invest as passives. So they make the transition from working hard as a lead, building up their portfolio, into the passive and living lifestyle. So you buy back your time, either going the IRO route, or directly in the passive, or work hard, build up your portfolio, and then go into passive.
Yeah, a lot of people misunderstand that. Being a lead is a full-time job. It is hard work. Don't think it is. I want them there every day. I want them there every day because I want to make money. Who's with me on that? You understand that? So I don't care how much money they make on it. I care how much money I'm going to make. What's my end result? Are they dedicated to it? That's why it is a full-time job. If you want to live the lifestyle, be a passive or be an IRO.
You'll never have David ask them the question, well, tell us, how many hours a week do you work?
Yeah,
right?
they do.
Because they're going to tell you 40, 50, right? Because it's a lot. That's one thing to be really clear. The lead route is a hard route, but it'll get you up, it'll help you build your portfolio faster, right? That's the give and take, time, energy, and effort.
There you go. And I'll explain the difference this weekend, what different paths are. And everybody's different, unique, and that's why we have mentors. Some people just want to make cash flow, be retired, don't want to do anything. Other people want to be passive. Some people don't want to deal with people. Okay, be a passive. Put money in a deal, make a return. You don't have to deal with those eviction stuff. Oh, that's an ugly picture. Oh, that's an ugly picture. Where's my 40%? That's my point. You understand? Figure out what's right
And
for
you don't have to decide today. You don't have to
Yeah.
decide a couple months from now. Once you make your decision, you can change it. Like there's no, oh, you're going to go down this path and everything else is blocked from you. There's always going to be a chance to shift at any point in time from IRO, passive, lead. That's you have plenty of options.
And I've seen people be a lead, one deal, they're like, nope, I just want to be a passive now. So people change their minds all the time, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yep.
Hey, I do have a question from Facebook.
Okay, Facebook, cool.
Robbie said, did you have any issues evicting during COVID?
Did you have any issues evicting during COVID?
No, we didn't actually. We did have to evict one, but it was well after the rehab, most of the rehab during COVID.
He ended up leaving on his own again, and then the squatter that was staying in there, because he left the door unlocked, I said, hey, can you please leave? And he said, okay, thanks. And he grabbed his pillow, and he stuffed his cell phone and his charger in the pillowcase, and then he said, and the other guy goes, hey, dude, you can stay with me for the night until you find a place, because they knew each other. So I said, thank you, and I locked the door.
Courtney's awesome. Give her a hand.
But during COVID, no, I mean, really,
We did work with the local JP on that issue and made sure we had our ducks in a row before we went through the
I
eviction.
had his personal cell phone number.
Cool. All right, well, let's give them a hand. Thank you so much for sharing.